I thought I already knew exactly what the 2026 Toyota 4Runner was going to be. Bigger screen. New tech. Slightly better fuel economy. But the more I looked into it, the more I realized this isn't the 4Runner Toyota used to build. And depending on who you are, that could be either a huge upgrade, or a serious disappointment. Because the 2026 4Runner isn't trying to be the same vehicle anymore. And that's what surprised me the most. Welcome back to Velux Cars. Today we're talking about the 2026 Toyota 4Runner, and why it turned out to be very different from what I expected. This isn't just a refresh. This isn't just new tech. This is Toyota quietly changing the personality of one of its most loyal vehicles. And by the end of this video, you'll know whether this new direction actually makes sense, or whether Toyota may have gone too far. Stick around, because later in the video we'll talk about why longtime 4Runner fans might feel conflicted, what Toyota fixed and what it may have sacrificed, and whether this new 4Runner is still worth buying in 2026. For decades, the Toyota 4Runner meant something very specific. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't efficient. It wasn't packed with screens. But it was tough. Body-on-frame construction. Old-school reliability. A feeling that this thing would outlast you, your kids, and possibly civilization itself. People bought the 4Runner because they didn't want change. And Toyota knew that. Which is why, for years, the 4Runner barely changed at all. But the market changed. Regulations changed. Customer expectations changed. And now, the 4Runner has changed too. And this is where my expectations started to fall apart, because Toyota didn't just modernize the 4Runner. They repositioned it. One of the biggest changes for the 2026 4Runner is something you don't immediately see. The platform. The 4Runner now rides on Toyota's TNGAF architecture, the same foundation used by the Land Cruiser, the Lexus GX, and the new Tacoma. On paper, this sounds like great news. Better rigidity. Better safety. Better ride quality. But here's the thing. When you change a platform, you change the feel of a vehicle. And the 2026 4Runner feels more refined, more controlled, more modern. Which sounds good until you realize something important. That raw, mechanical, slightly rugged personality, it's been smoothed out. I expected Toyota to give the 2026 4Runner more power. And technically, they did. But not in the way many people imagined. Gone is the old naturally aspirated V6. In its place, a turbocharged 4-cylinder, with hybrid options depending on the trim. On paper, more torque, better fuel efficiency, lower emissions. In reality, the driving experience is very different. The new 4Runner feels quicker off the line, more responsive in city driving, less strained on highways. But it also feels quieter, more insulated, less mechanical. And for some buyers, that's progress. For others, that's exactly what they didn't want. And this is where opinions really split, because depending on how you use your 4Runner, this change either makes perfect sense, or no sense at all. Let's be clear about something. The 2026 4Runner is still extremely capable off-road. Toyota didn't forget its roots. You still get proper four-wheel drive systems, locking differentials on certain trims, advanced terrain management modes. But the emphasis has shifted. The new 4Runner feels more controlled and calculated off-road, less raw, more precise. Which means it's actually easier for most people to use. But hardcore enthusiasts may notice something subtle. It feels more like a modern adventure SUV, and less like a mechanical tool. And that brings us to the interior, the place where the 4Runner changes the most. Step inside the 2026 4Runner, and it becomes obvious who Toyota is targeting now. Bigger screens. Cleaner design. Better materials. This is not the old utilitarian cabin anymore. The dashboard is more digital. The infotainment system is faster. The layout feels closer to a Lexus than a traditional off-road SUV. And honestly, it's good. Very good. Long drives are more comfortable. Daily commuting feels easier. Everything feels more premium. But again, something is missing. That sense of simplicity. That this will never break feeling, and this is the key point of the entire video. The 2026 4Runner is not trying to serve the exact same buyer anymore. It's no longer built primarily for hardcore off-road purists. People who want minimal tech. Buyers who value old-school mechanics above all else. Instead, it's aimed at daily drivers who want adventure on weekends. Families who want comfort and capability. Buyers cross-shopping Land Cruisers, Broncos, and luxury SUVs, but at a lower price. And from that perspective, the new 4Runner makes total sense. But there is one issue that doesn't get enough attention. The 4Runner is no longer alone in Toyota's lineup. It now sits very close to the Land Cruiser, the Lexus GX, even some high-end crossovers. Which raises a serious question. Why choose the 4Runner when Toyota offers so many alternatives that feel just as capable and sometimes more premium? Pricing hasn't officially settled yet, but one thing is clear. The 2026 4Runner is not trying to be cheap. And that's fine. But value is about perception. If buyers feel they're paying more for a vehicle that lost some of its identity, that's where hesitation starts. So after spending time understanding this new 4Runner, was I disappointed? Honestly, no. But I was surprised. The 2026 4Runner is better in almost every measurable way. It's smarter, more efficient, more comfortable. But it's also less rebellious, less stubborn, less old school. And whether that's a good thing or a bad thing depends entirely on what you believe a 4Runner should be. Now I want to hear from you. Do you like this new direction for the 4Runner? Or do you miss the old, simpler version? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy calm, honest car discussions like this, subscribe to Velux Cars. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.